A big superstar has started teasing their return, so we'll see what's going on there. We'll also check out the latest storyline updates for MMM, what Seth Rollins is saying, and much more. Let's start things off with a big teaser for a big returning superstar. This superstar in question is Matt Riddle. Riddle was written off of WWE television back in early December 2022. After having another run-in with the Bloodline, they attacked him so brutally that Matt Riddle had to be stretchered out of the arena and transported to the nearest hospital. WWE instantly released a tweet that Matt Riddle would be out of action for 6 weeks. Of course, the injuries were not real, and they were all storyline related. And shortly after Matt Riddle was written off, all these reports and rumors started to go around that it was actually a suspension for a wellness issue, and all these other rumors. But WWE never confirmed nor denied those reports on Matt Riddle. It's now way past the original 6-week time frame. It's actually been almost double that amount of time. But Matt Riddle is still nowhere to be found. Well, Matt Riddle recently took to his Twitter to post a Valentine's Day message, but also threw in a WWE return hint into the post by saying that he'll be seeing everyone very soon. So if the 6-week suspension rumors and reports were true, then Riddle is now served his suspension and appears to be closing in on a WWE return. So it's going to come down to how WWE wants to write him back into television. The Raw after WrestleMania is quickly approaching, and it's a tradition for that show to feature several returns. That could be a big potential return spot for Matt Riddle right there on the big edition of Raw. So we'll have to wait and see what WWE ends up doing for Matt Riddle's return to television. Maxxine Dupri and the MMM weren't wasting any time on Raw. The group recently transferred over to Raw from SmackDown, and Maxxine has been focusing on Otis ever since she first laid her eyes on him. The other MMM members were all saying bad things about Otis because that's the direction they thought Maxxine was going in. But they were shocked to hear her call Otis perfect. So now in a recent edition of Raw, Maxxine finally approaches Otis and gave him MMM's business card. And it's quite funny because it's almost like the complete opposite of Otis's story with Mandy Rose. With that story, Otis was the one that was eyeing Mandy Rose first and never took his eyes off of her. Well, several years later, and the roles have been flipped. Maxxine Dupri is the one that can't take her eyes off of Otis now. So, it may look like a simple comedic relief storyline right now, but this story could impact several different things, starting off with Alpha Academy's partnership and friendship. It was Chad Gable who took Otis from being just a silly competitor and turned him into a brutal heel force over the last few years. So, if Otis accepts Maxxine's offer and starts heading back into a silly direction by modeling MMM's clothing line, maybe Chad Gable will have a problem with that. It'll also look like Gable thought that Maxxine was approaching him for this opportunity. So when Maxxine pointed out that she was talking to Otis, that could have instantly planted some jealousy seeds into the story as well. So early signs point to Otis's MMM role potentially playing a part in Alpha Academy's demise. And like we said before, it may seem like just a comedic storyline right now, but look at what happened with Mandy Rose and Otis. It starts off being this comedic and goofy storyline, but it snowballed into one of the biggest storylines that was going on that year. So who knows if Otis accepts Maxxine's offer and it could snowball into something much larger once again. Maybe Otis starts off as just a one-time appearance model for MMM, but Maxxine likes what she sees. She can bring Otis fully on board, and you just gotta wonder how Chad Gable will take this news. Not only will Gable not get the offer, he also lost his partner in the process. So this story will be a one to keep an eye on Raw for sure. Roman Reigns' historic title reign has been full of great moments, stories, and title defenses. Majority of fans seem to agree that everything between Roman and Jay's feud from 2020 still remains to this day as one of the most epic stories and moments from the title reign. But right up there towards the top with the Jey Uso story was the Seth Rollins story. Roman and Jey have history that goes back to their childhood, so it's hard to beat that much history. But the next WWE superstar who has the longest history with Roman, besides the Usos, was Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns made their WWE main roster debuts together on the same night. They went on their great run together in the Shield, even with Rollins and Reigns capturing the tag team titles with each other. A very close brotherhood for all those years. But like everyone knows, it all came to a shocking end when Seth Rollins picked up that chair and slammed it into Roman's back to mark his betrayal on the Shield. It was a big moment, and the Shield reunited several times after the betrayal. But it was as if Roman never truly got over that moment. That moment was probably what gives Roman Reigns all the paranoia and fear that he has to deal with today. He probably has several trust issues with his family members because of that moment with Seth Rollins. And not to mention the fact that Sami Zayn basically did the same thing to Roman again and betrayed him at Royal Rumble. But Seth and Roman did meet again at Royal Rumble 2022 and the build-up was great. Seth Rollins was playing intense mind games with Roman, using the Shield days as a way to get inside Roman's head. Seth even came out to the Shield's music and was in full Shield gear that day. Roman did finally have his full circle moment of revenge by beating down Seth Rollins with a chair after the match. But the biggest problem with their feud and story was that the Royal Rumble match ended in a no contest and there was zero follow-up. The match ended with no winner. They both went their separate ways and that was it. Seth Rollins recently spoke with Sports Guys Talk Wrestling, and they asked him if Cody Rhodes is the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. Seth had this to say, quote, "I don't know the answer to that question, man. It's very hard for me to look at that match unbiased. I want that match. I want that spot. I want that title. And to not have it, there's a lot of salt in the wound having to talk about it. So it's difficult for me to analyze. You've got Roman Reigns, who's on an incredible run, but you've got Cody Rhodes, who's riding a lot of momentum. So when those two guys meet, it's going to be a generational main event of WrestleMania. Again, hard for me to feel any way but slightly by it. So that's what it is," end quote. So Seth Rollins is acknowledging how great of a match it'll be, but he wishes it was him in that spot to have that big moment of dethroning Roman Reigns. And like fans pointed out, Seth Rollins has never fully main evented WrestleMania. Yes, he technically was a part of the WrestleMania 31 main event and walked out as WWE champion that night. That is true. But Seth Rollins has never main evented a WrestleMania match from start to finish, only that cash-in moment. So that's why Seth Rollins is still hungry for that WrestleMania main event spot, and he wants that Universal title back. Seth was off to having a great Universal title reign back in 2019 by defeating Brock Lesnar, but things got a bit shaky there for him once things kicked off with The Fiend. So in his eyes, if he was able to dethrone Roman Reigns, get the Universal title back, and main event WrestleMania all in one night, it would be the ultimate get-right moment for him. But would you like to see another match between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns? And what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.